All right, in this interesting piece, we're actually going to get into the people that could actually follow Mencho as far as being in leadership of said organization, and they've had lots of struggle actually due to that fact. And it's well known Mencho has big time kidney problems, and it's only a matter of time. So people are basically jockeying for the position. And there's been several big names brought up, and we're going to get into each of them out here and explain a little bit about them, their real names, things like that. Put them on blast, do what we got to do. Hope you guys have a superb day. Let's get into it, my friends. Now, one of the first ones I'd like to note is actually already dead. This is the only person on the list that's going to be dead, but he was a serious successor for Mencho. His name was Ojo de Vidro, and he was killed in 2017 in an engagement. So he lost his life. And the next up and the most probable and unknown, most people don't know this name. I'd probably say 99% of the world doesn't, even if they study this said subject, and that is Christian Fernandez Ochoa. And he's actually in charge of the personal security of Mencho's family members. So he basically has the close position and communication with every member of the family, which is extremely important because you have to remember the hierarchy of this organization is based on a family structure. Every single one of them, whether it's his wife or his daughters or his son, that's why they're all in prison, his whole family, because they're all involved in the hierarchy, whether it's the money laundering or the expansion, whatever, of said organization. And this person has a connection to all of them. So you can imagine the power that holds in itself and the ability he has to communicate with every family member whenever he wants. He's in charge of literally their personal security in every move, which I wonder how good he's doing his job considering they've all been captured as well. That's just maybe speculation from the outside, but I wouldn't be too happy with him if I was put him in charge of my family members that were involved in that and each of them got arrested. Every one of them has been captured except Mencho himself, as we all well know. Now, there's been a recent rise in violence in Michoacan and Colima, and this is actually due to internal cleansing inside said group. It's kind of they're rooting out traitors, I think, or people that find aren't doing their job well enough or stealing, things like that. And it's interesting because it's an internal, affair. It's not they're fighting rival groups because in that area they're fighting the United Cartels and other groups like that right in that area. Now, another one we have to notice that we can't leave out, of course, is Agustin Gonzalez Chavarin. Now, he controls basically all of the northern coast of Jalisco, which is very important. As far as strategically for this organization, this area is a big moneymaker. And this is areas like Puerto Vallarta. He's also known as El Señor de los Tocomas. Now, he's actually connected directly to Mencho and has a friendship going on there, and that's why he was ascended to said position in such an important position, like as far as an area. It's not just any area they have him working in. It's one of the most strategic areas for said organization, and he holds it down with an iron fist. He's very well known to be extremely bloodthirsty individual and deals with people as he has to deal with them. That's never been a problem for him. And if you want to ascend in this organization, that's exactly what you have to be, is a bloodthirsty individual. None of these people that are on this list are very friendly, as you maybe would like to say. Let's, put it that way. And that's probably an understatement. Most of them would probably consider demons just due to the fact of how many people they've killed. Now, another interesting one on the list is La Firma. Now, why it's interesting is he's not actually from Mexico. He's from Colombia. So this is a non-Mexican national that could also be a successor to Mencho. And he's known for bringing mercenaries in and being very effective in the actual expansion of said group. Yes, La Firma is the name, and he's very well known, and also is he specializes on top of the expansion and that whole thing, and the extortion rackets, and putting taxes on businesses, whatever like that, and bringing money in en masse on that level as well. So he's got two specialties as far as expansion and extortion, and it's extremely important for the organization because he's a big money maker. He brings a lot of cash, and if you want to keep your bosses happy and said organization, it's a good idea to bring a lot of cash in, believe me. Now, someone we all should know is Alias Flores Silva. He's a big time successor, and as far as most well known, and probably the one that most people would tell you that they expect to take over said organization would be this person right here, just due to the fact of his inner, relations with members of said family. And I'm not going to say that I don't underestimate his role, but I just think there's a lot of other key players, and he's very young. But it could happen, it could happen, depending on how super ultra violent he is when the time comes, because I feel there's really going to be an internal conflict where they're going to be fighting for it. It's not just going to be like a peaceful change of leadership. There's going to be a lot of people vying for power, and then some of them are going to line up with one side or the other, and they're going to go at it. Let's be honest. That's pretty much what happens when these big organizations break up. Every time, at least in my knowledge, that it's never like peaceful, like everyone sits down at a table and discusses it, right? Now, on top of that, we have to remember Gonzalo Mendoza Gaitan, also known as El Sapo. He's also an extremely violent individual. And that probably after Flores Silva is probably the second most well known and commonly considered to take over said organization. His, he's all over the place as far as how he makes money. And he is a big money maker, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he's very diversified. There's not anything he really specializes in specific, but he's in control of a large geographical area. It's also extremely important for the expansion of said organization. So he's no slouch at all. He's making moves all the time, and there's a reason his name rings bells in the organization and outside of the organization. Pretty much everyone, including law enforcement in the United States, so on and so forth. I think they offer like a $5 million reward for him, if I'm correct. So he's a big deal. And if you remember, that's how much they were offering for the Chapitos too. So that should say something, right? Now, the last one on this list is not the last one on this list because of importance or anything like that. He's definitely a big deal, and his name is Juan Carlos Valencia, also known as El Pelon, also known as 03, and he's in charge of a lot of the war going on in Michoacan and the expansion there that they're constantly fighting. And if you notice his last name, Valencia, it's very important because they're actually the family behind the power of Jalisco is, the Valencia family, also known as Los Queenies. So important to notice that name as well. That stands out to me at least, and it should to all of you as well. Now, I hope you guys consider this very informative. If you'd like to help the channel out, you can do so down in Buy Me a Coffee or down in, Super Chat on YouTube. Hope you guys have a good day. Subscribe. Smash on that like button. Saturday.